is Mairead McCaughan. I am a classical singer. I'm a graduate. I've just finished my studies at the Conservatorium of Music, and I've probably been doing it, well, since I started studying it, but I've actually been involved in music for, ever since I was a young girl, in choirs, musical theatre, but it didn't come onto my radar to start pursuing this until, like 4 or 5 years ago. A lot to do with form and structure. It's how it's pretty much, it's based on the brilliance of the composer and what he can do when he knows about music, composition. It's what draws me, what makes beautiful music is its melody and its way to communicate beauty through a beautiful melody, which it just elevates you. It takes you, transports you somewhere. So really, it's a skill of the composer, as well as the performance technique of the singer, as I am. It's bringing that to life, and that's what makes it beautiful, and how the audience responds to that. Because if you're referring to an opera, it's pretty much, the costumes, the stage setting, the dramatization of that music. It's the pinnacle of whatever that character is experiencing and she's expressing through that one song. So it's a big character arc in the song. And yes, it does. It actually brings it more to life, because you see that aria, that music in context and what the composer was intending. And it's because it's a live performance. It's all different from what you've listened to on a recording. And I like how they did that differently. I loved how she just made it her own. Made it beautiful. I recently went to see Rusalka at the Opera House, so it's probably my favorite, fairy tale story. But it's a Czech folklore, written by Antonín Dvořák, and the most famous piece in that opera is called Song to the Moon, and that I've heard that many times and I've performed it myself, but it was just beautiful to see this opera star just make it her own. And I just liked it because you don't know what the director's going to ask you to do and how he wants you to sit and how he wants you to move around the stage, because you've got to put that in. You've got to actually work with directors, and then you've already got your own ideas of how you want to sing it, but then you've also got to work with the orchestra. You've got to work with it's all that comes into play. But then in the end, I guess you don't know what's going to happen, but it happens. It's in the moment. In the end, you do all that work, and it's in the moment and how you deliver it on the night. And then you can see her pain through that story, and that's how you connect, is through something so human. Like in that song, she's absolutely yearning and longing for the love of this young man, this prince on the shore. She's a water sprite, and she's wanted to experience love. She's really, really desiring it. We all desire that, and so she sees this. She's caught in between two worlds, and she's desperate for someone. To the moon is like her god. Can you please tell him that I love him? Let him put him in his dreams, so he knows that I exist and I'm waiting. Of course it is. Yeah. I mean, I've made mistakes in my drama, online, but it's more what you communicate. So it's all energy, right? So, you do touch someone because they've experienced that, and that spoke to them. So you don't know who you're touching. It's how you communicate it, and you do it to the best of your ability. If you just get into the right mindset, you can. And I find every time I've had that mindset, or if I've just taken a moment before I start, and I just don't worry about like the nerves is always a thing. It's focus on the music, just focus on the music, just focus on what you're communicating, and it delivers. And I don't think I've ever had a performance where people haven't come up and said thank you. Like, if I just put that to God and let him do the rest. I know that I was part of a performing arts group called Artist Christie, and the director's aim was to put on Christian performances. That there weren't enough of that happening out there in the mainstream. So he wanted to put on like that had Catholic values or Christian values. So whether it be like through the music that we put on tours throughout the year, Christmas tour, we do a play and a musical, and it was a great opportunity to be a part of that, because it was a creative community, but we were putting on good stuff. People who were not even faith-based, they remarked on how it was very warm, loving, and inclusive, and people were kind. It was just it was a more uplifting environment than say you'd have out in a secular performing arts group. For me, it actually wasn't just going to see an opera. Sometimes it's fine sort of the watching of it just a bit dull. I like to listen. For me, that transports me further than me just trying to entertain my eyes. Melody has always affected me. So there's a beautiful how I encounter God. I think it's Nimrod, Elgar's Nimrod, and I actually found out later he actually was a Catholic. So I'm like, oh, no wonder he wrote some stunning, and Nimrod is absolutely stunning composition. And I was watching this arrangement by, his name's Sheku Kenan Mason. He's now like a famous sort of cellist, and he's very young, but he put together his own sort of chamber group, and it was like 6 or 7 cellists, and I think 2 of them were his teachers or something, and they were on his album. But there's a stunning arrangement of this Nimrod on the cello, and I was in tears by the end of it, because it was just, it's the way it's written. I don't know how to describe it. The motifs in it, or it's just like I never heard it, like, because I used to play cello, so I'm probably a bit biased, but it is my favorite instrument. But I honestly think that piece was divinely inspired, and it literally transports and stirs your soul so much that, okay, yes, this is a taste of heaven. This is where you want to be. This is where you want to always feel. Like, it felt like love in that piece. So that's probably my most favorite classical piece. And another one called Highland Cathedral, which is, yeah, I'd say listening more than anything. Music is how I encounter God. If I just stop, and even if I don't feel it, or if I find it hard to pray because you're nervous, or you gotta just say, I just offer this up. Make every note that I play, or every note that I sing, touch someone, and let my gift be the one that you can reach them, whoever's listening. I hope it is. Yeah, I hope they're affected, and I hope they get closer to Jesus or in deep in their interior life, because I was able to help that. I'm a vessel to help them get closer to God. So that's how I see my work. It has this vocational importance to it. I find myself going for wholesome things. You care about the characters, or I can find myself, oh, that was a good use of time. I really just resonated so much with what I watched, I like going and seeing music. I love watching music theatre as well, because it's highly entertaining. Or plays, very funny plays. Yeah, you see humanity. You see just what it is to be human, and I love that is expressed. You don't feel alone. You feel like less alone in the world, and you think, oh, actually, that was me. You see that. A good actor. I admire the art. I really admire the skill, the artistry behind it. I've delved into that world, and I've tried it, and it's a big can of worms. You think, oh, that's easy, acting. It's not. It really isn't. I know there's people out there who are atheists, or don't have belief, but they say they're spiritual, and I notice they are affected. I mean, I gave this person, he's an atheist, I gave him a recording of my Rusalka, and like you could see he really enjoyed the performance, like how I sung it. So that you can see, I'm like, oh, see, there's a way in. Beauty does touch people. And I know there's a case with Artist Christie. They did I think they were doing their Europe tour, and I think there was the bombing in the Bataclan in Paris, and they were performing at Notre Cathedral, I think, if I'm not wrong. But I was told that when they performed, there was someone who was a victim of that bombing, came in, happened to walk into the cathedral and just sit down there while Artist Christie were performing. I don't know what piece, but that person said to them to thank you so much for that. What you guys just did, what you guys gave me a lot of peace, and what therapy would have given me. So there you can say music is healing. Well, Dvořák is a master of this sort of, I don't know how you describe it, ethereal. He's a master of melody. Specifically in Song to the Moon, you've got this opening of the harp. He's got these lofting upward phrases of going up, upward passages. They're going up. It's like it gives the effect of water rippling. And it starts off introducing you to the world of Rusalka. She's in her water bed in her environment. So it sets the scene, and then you hear the strings going like da 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 da, it's like that wanting, I'm wanting, you know. And then she opens the phrase Mineshishku na nebi hulbokem, so moon up in the sky, do you see me, you know. So she's pretty much just like a big prayer to the moon. You see all the dwelling houses down below you. You go and you see into people's houses. You see people's souls. You see that, you know, you see everything being up there at that high. Can you tell this man that I love him, I desire to be with him? Can you let him know in a dream that I'm thinking of him? And then can you bring me to him? So to discuss more about the arrangement of this famous aria, we have the melody and atmosphere. So it starts off with this serene lyrical line. The melody floats in a calm nocturnal mood. Its long, upward-reaching phrases evoke both longing and transcendence. So the harp and strings create these arpeggios, and lush string textures conjure the moon's shimmering reflection on the water. And so it gives us this sort of musical imagery that imitates Rusalka's inner world. So we have, within the orchestration and the symbolism, we have recurring motifs. Delicate motifs from violins and harp return throughout Rusalka, suggesting the moon, wind, and Rusalka's restless yearning. And it also creates this colour and mood. So the orchestration's silvery tone paints this supernatural setting. It's beautiful and slightly ominous, and it's actually foreshadowing the cost of Rusalka's longing. That's what makes it so deep, and it's so effective. This is the core of the opera, and it comes quite early. It's only in Act 1 because it sets up the rest of the story, what she's trying to achieve. So it's the thematic depth of this piece is one, universal yearning, because it is although it's rooted in Slavic folklore. Rusalka's plea speaks to the universal human desire for connection and transformation. Heart versus fate. Her plea to the moon makes us reflect. What lengths will we go to for love, and how do our deepest wishes collide with the forces beyond our control? Sound is symbol. The musical elements become metaphors. Moonlight as memory, rippling water as emotional currents, upward melodies as hopes reaching beyond mortal bounds. You could say, to sum it up, Song to the Moon is not just a beautiful melody, it's a transcendent expression of one being caught between two worlds. And that's like us, caught between earth and wanting heaven. And her world being just a little water sprite. She's not even human. She doesn't get to feel, touch, She wants to know what that feels like to be in that body. So through its evocative orchestration, soaring melody, and symbolic resonance, it invites us to contemplate love's power, sacrifice, and the fragility of desire. So that's just a touching on what Rusalka is, what Song to the Moon is, and that's why I really love performing it, because it just says so much, and it's just the most beautiful orchestration. It's not like any other composer, like an Italian opera. It's just refreshing hearing Dvořák's arrangements. It's just different, and yeah, and I like it, maybe because I can connect to it, and so when you connect to something really well as a performer, as a musician, it just transforms your playing. That's when you start reaching people. If you can understand the work, if you can add that, it's the understanding, and then you're able to perform what's inside, what's within you. So and that's why I like performing. That's why I like doing it, because like it transforms you. Like I am going beyond my limits. I'm pushing boundaries here because you're actually asking of you're using you're using yourself to to deliver, to bring to life in the best way that you can what the composer intended. And that's why it's what's so beautiful about live music or any different voice singing it. It becomes their voice, their instrument.